Hey guys, Mr. Zern here with another vocabulary lesson. All right, got two terms for you today, natural language and pseudocode. And I think both of these things can actually help you with the actual coding if you utilize them. So first, we've got natural language, and that's the language that people use in daily conversation with each other. All right, so what does that mean? So with the guessing game, just describe it in just natural language. So, hey, a person can enter a number and a secret number, and then you can guess it on the app. Okay. So that's, kind of step one. That's pretty simple, like just sort of giving someone the elevator pitch or the brief description as to what something is or how it works. So, yeah, hey, player one can enter a secret number, and then player two has 20 guesses to, guess the number, and the computer is going to tell them if the number is, higher or lower by keeping tracks of their guesses. And if they get to zero, then it's game over. All right. So there's, kind of explaining that like you would just, a friend at lunch or on the bus or whatever. So that's natural language. All right. Next, we have pseudocode. And so it's not real code, but you sort of talk in those coding terms, and this can really help you actually code the product. Because if you just sort of they talk about like rubber ducking, it like sort of explain it to a rubber duck of just kind of talking through it in your head or just kind of out loud to yourself or even to a friend, but using the pseudocode can really make it a lot easier. And so specifically, it's a way to work out the logic without worrying too much about the specifics of the language you are programming in. So, again, using this guessing game as an example, let's use a little bit of pseudocode. All right. So in natural language, I was like, hey, so player one can enter the number, and then player two has to guess the number. Okay. So let's talk in pseudocode. All right. So player one's going to enter their number, and the computer is going to store that as a variable. Okay. And then player two is trying to guess that number, and so every time they enter a number, it's going to store their guess as a variable. All right, so we're getting a little bit of language in there, the pseudocode. And then the program is going to compare the secret number with the guess number. All right, it's going to compare the two, and it'll tell it. So again, we've got like three options. So if the two are the same, if they're equal, so if the secret number equals the guess number, it should say something like, you win. If the secret number is less than the guess number, then it should say guess higher. And I guess the third option would be if the secret number is higher than the guess number, then it should say guess lower. And again, so I'm using some coding terms there. All right, so it's storing the answer as a variable. It's comparing the two. We're using like relational operators and such. And again, if you just kind of talk it yourself through what you want it to do, finding the code becomes a lot easier. Like, oh, all right, well, I got to. How's the computer going to know what that number is? Oh, I got to store it as a variable, right? How's the computer going to know what number the person is guessing? Oh, yeah, I got to store that as a variable. How am I going to know if the person wins? Well, I'm going to, compare the two. Are they equal? If the two numbers or the two variables are equal, then hey, it should say, it's right. Well, how does the person know? Well, I better print so that it says, hey, you win. Again, what if this one is lower than the other? How can I tell someone what to do next? So if you just kind of pseudo code that, to yourself in your head, out loud to yourself, to a neighbor, it'll often make sense. And so in the future, I'll start to talk to you folks. I'm like, all right, well, just explain to me what you want to do. And often when I do that, people in the middle of their sentence, they stop and go, oh, I know what to do, because they've sort of talked through it out loud and suddenly it makes sense. All right. So we've got natural language and we've got pseudocode, and you're going to hear me using those terms here a lot in the future and for the rest of the semester. All right. I will talk to you guys later.